All right, good morning. Welcome to the Saturday morning coffee chat. It is the second Saturday in February already.
Wow.
Time is flying by, it always does. So make the most of it. We were talking before the recording about, how precious and fragile life is. So this is just a reminder, that we're already in the second weekend of February, that time passes quickly. So show up every day, do your best, live happy, healthy. And that's what we do here, right? That's our mission. So this morning, I just wanted to go over a little bit about some nutrition tracking tips, the things that I use that help me stay on track, and just kind of do a quick meal planning overview. And I was just gonna, walk you through what I do to keep it super simple, that adds a lot of variety. And helps me to stay on track. And then also I factor in my treats in there. So I think it's become a way of life that is balanced, that doesn't feel like I'm being deprived. And I don't, and it's simple. And that's like one of the things that I strive for, is how can we make this simple and just sensible so that we keep it sustainable. So the first thing I'll do is just I'll do a quick meal planning overview on what I do. So I get one of these grocery list templates.
Yeah.
I print off like 5 of these, throw them in my little file drawer, so I have them every weekend. And then I fold it in half. And then on the one side, I just write Monday through Sunday on here. And then I go out to, I pull out my binder of recipes, that these are ones that I've kind of like printed off, and I've got these plastic sheets, right? And I look through here because I don't want to be doing, 7 new recipes every week, because I don't like cooking. I'm embracing it more because I pick recipes that are simple. Like I look for easy stuff. If it's too complicated, I'm not going to make it. I also look at the container count. If it's got like 1.5 yellows in it, I'm probably not going to pick that one, because I like my yellows early in the day, my carbs, my oatmeal or my granola or my toast, So if it has 1, I'll do that. But if it's like creeping into my other one, I was like, no, we're not having that for dinner. So I do look at the container count. And so I have my sheets. I pull out a few recipes, and then I just write them down. What am I having Monday through Sunday? When I'm doing this, I also check my calendar to make sure to see what's going on through the week. Like, am I driving into Anchorage and I'm going to be gone most of the day? So then I want to plan like a slow cooker meal. So I put on in the morning and set it, forget it, and know that I can come back to dinner being already ready. Or if I'm, got a lunchtime meeting or something where I'm going to have food that I'm ready to grab and to go. So I look at my schedule, I plan around it. And in the summertime, I plan around the weather too. Just a side note, like if it's going to be a rainy day, I'm going to plan, if it's forecasted to be a rainy day, I'm going to plan like a soup, something comfort food. If it's got a stream of, gorgeous days, I'm going to be throwing things on the grill, right? So I do that too. And so I have my dinners all lined out, and then I just open it up and I take those recipes that I've pulled out, and I start creating my grocery list. Now I pull some from my binder, and then I also, I have the 2 cookbooks, but and those are good to have. But I do actually go out to beachbodyondemand.com and click on the blog, and I search for recipes out there if I want, a salad recipe or chili, or, I just might put in dinner or vegan dinners, and it just gives me some things to select from. So, and there's also, of course, the Fixate Cooking Show that is in our Beachbody On Demand, which you can also find in your nutrition. You can find recipes in your Nutrition Plus tracker. So that's what I do. And then when I'm creating my grocery list, because now I've lined out dinners, but that's only dinners, right? But I just know in breakfast is going to be one of 3 that I usually have. And my, you know, I make sure I have things that I typically put in my Shakeology. So I put those things in my grocery list as well. The snacks that I typically like. So I like to make sure to have, you know, some almond butter and some hummus and some veggies, carrots, apples, red bell pepper, those things on hand, you know, my typical things. And we're encouraged to try different fruits and veggies because each fruit and veggie and the different colors of those things have different nutrients in them. So, but I'm pretty much a creature of habit. And so where I get my variety is in the dinners. And the rest of the day, I just keep it simple, things that I know I like, that work for me, that fit into my lifestyle. And then the dinner is where I add more of the complexity and the variety. So that's how I keep it simple on that. So that gets me everything I need for the week. Then I take the recipes that I've pulled out, and I take my list and I clip them all to the fridge with a magnetic thing. And they're right there. And so when I'm making my coffee in the morning, I can look, what did I have to say we're having for dinner? You know, make sure I got, like when I make tacos or something, we're vegan. I do have like grass-fed beef. Sometimes I cook that up for my son. So I might have to pull that out and thaw it. I took a look at the recipe real quick to make sure, like, I've been caught out, like the tofu is supposed to marinate for 30 minutes. And I'm like, oh, shoot, you know? So I look at that real quick and put it on the counter, and that just, you know, it gets my mind going for the day. So that's what I do for that. And it just keeps it super simple. Now for tracking, because unless you're lining out every meal of every day and we have lots of different templates to be able to craft your day as far as, okay, breakfast is a yellow, a purple, a orange if you're using seeds, right? If that's my yogurt parfait, and protein, a red. You know, you can mark that off. And then what your Shakeology is, and mark those containers off, and you can create your day that way with the paper templates that we have. And those are great. Those are how I started. And then I would create my own Excel spreadsheet, right? And that's how I started when I first started doing this. But I just kind of fine-tuned it down. I don't like to sit down and like figure that out. It takes me a long time. So I'm going to share my screen. So you have the phone, and you got your Nutrition Plus tracker. And I've shared this before on how I do my tracking, but here, another way that you can build out your day, and you could even do this the night before. Sometimes I do it in the morning when I'm, you know, just after I've had my breakfast, or I'm finishing my coffee. But if you you go down and, you know, you've got your meal one, so that's your breakfast. And like I said, we had fruit, and we had some yogurt and some granola. I put some seeds on it, and you can, you know, however detailed you want to get this, as far as putting in, you know, the description, if you want to add a photo, sometimes that's easier just to add a photo, and then log it. And then I immediately go into the last meal 6, and I may not have 6 meals in the day, but I'm going to put that in as dinner. And so we'll just say I'm having, you know, asparagus and some tofu and sweet potato, and I'm gonna put some cheese on my sweet potato. I'm gonna have a regular potato. So I just say that's dinner, right? And log that. So now you know you have left for the day. And so here's what you can actually do, is build out your day from here. So now I know, because, and you'll see in the Ultimate Portion Fix, the beginning meal planning is simply picking from the food list, filling your containers, And really it's the a la carte kind of thing. Like I did with the dinner, I'm going to have tofu or chicken. That's my red. I'm going to have some asparagus. That's my green. I'm going to have a sweet potato. That's my yellow. And so very, very simple, no recipes involved. And as you get more comfortable with using the containers and what goes in them and how that creates the meals throughout the day and what a day of meals looks like, then you can actually, you know, start using some recipes and get a little more creative. And your recipes don't have to be just at dinner. You might find some great recipes for breakfast if you have the time to cook in the morning, you know, or a great like Buddha bowl meal for lunch, right? So you can put that recipe in wherever it fits and build from there. But if you look in the Ultimate Portion Fix in the meal planning for advanced, one of our tips is if you're picking recipes for dinner from the Fixate Cooking Show or any of the Fix approved recipes, which means they have breaking it down and figured out what the container count is. And the containers, like a red container can have carbs in it, right? Or healthy fats in it. So they have actually broken it and done the macro nutrient formula on that meal to tell you what the container count is. So when you pick a fixed approved meal and you put that in for your dinner, like we're doing here, then that's how you can be a little more creative with your meal planning for the day. So this is what I'm showing you. So now you know what you have left and you can build out your day. So I know I'm going to have my Shakeology is going to be so let me X out. So the things to be mindful of before I do this is, depending on your meal plan, you know, you only have a certain number of fruits, certain number of carbs and spoons. And those are the ones that kind of get used up, right? Every plan only has one blue, one orange. So you see, I've used mine. So I need to know that I don't have that anymore, because I have occasionally been putting like frozen avocado in my shake. So I know I've allotted that for dinner. I cannot use it in my shake, right? So this is what kind of keeps you on track. Okay, I can't have that blue now because I'm having it later. So now I'm gonna enter in my Shakeology. And so we're gonna have, you know, the typical, some fruit. I'm gonna throw in some frozen spinach. I'm gonna have the Shakio. And today I'm gonna use a cup of unsweetened almond milk, which counts as a spoon. And, you know, again, if you, like, even if you don't put this in the description, but if you have to look back, I would put something in there. So now I know this is gonna be my Shakio. Now, what do I have left for lunch? So then I'm gonna go into meal or snacks, right? I'm gonna go into meal 3, because I usually have, you know, an afternoon, little something, something. Or I have it with my Shakeology, just depending on the day. So I'm gonna have some veggies and some almond butter, which is probably gonna be 2 spoons to be real. So I'm just gonna call that snack, log that in. And then, so then what do I have left for something, you know, late lunch like? So I've got 2 reds, I've got a yellow, I've got lots of greens. So I'm probably gonna have 2 servings here. So you see how this is kind of like, okay, I see what my day is gonna look like. So I'm gonna have, you know, 2 servings, maybe 2 different veggies when I'm having my snack. And then lunch, my meal number 4, I'm gonna put that in. I'm gonna have, you know, maybe the salad here with, I had a protein. I'm gonna throw some quinoa in there. And then I'll use, and you can write this out if you need to remember what you were accounting for, right? So I'm gonna log that in. And for dressings, a lot of times if I've already used my orange, I'm going to put in, I'm gonna make like a sort of lemon dressing that is a freebie. And you can look on your freebies and find the suggestions there for that. So this leaves me with 1 spoon, 1 red. So then I can figure where I might want to put this in. You know, in my snack, I might want to have, you know, say I keep lunch meat on hand. Really, it's for my son, but we'll just for this purpose throw that in there. So it's always good to have like extra, have a combination of your containers at a given time. And then I'm going to be super real and put in meal 3. I'm going to use that other spoon there because I totally love my almond butter. And I usually overeat that. So there you go. So now I know. And if you put descriptions in these, now you know what your day is. So it's coming time to snack time. You can click on your snack. What do I allot for that? And if you're working from, away from home, or you're running errands that day and you need to pack some of this and take it with you, then you can, build this out the night before so you have things ready in the morning to grab and go. So I like this way of doing it. Right through your Nutrition Plus tracker, because you have it handy, you have it with you, it's logged in, that's your food journal. So at the end of the week, if you're not losing weight, if you're feeling like you've plateaued, or if you're feeling, bloated or whatever, we can look at what you've logged and look at where we might make adjustments, or look at the food you've been eating and how that might be affecting you personally with your body. Like Sharon, I loved that she shared that, right now she is feeling a lot of gas and bloating. Yeah. And people, when they first start and are first starting with their Shakeology, they're first starting to really up the veggies and that they're not eating, usually your body is going to have to acclimate to that. Your digestive system and your gut are going through a process of house cleaning, and it's, getting used to having such dense nutrients now, whereas opposed to what you may have been eating before. Right. So that is a process. And so we can look, but it could also be, maybe she or you, your body doesn't digest, Brussels sprouts well, or, red bell pepper kind of gives you stomach issues. So we can look at that. And that's why it's also good to use, I don't have it right here, but the logbook, because that actually says, and use it, you can use it in conjunction with your Nutrition Plus app, is how did your food make you feel today? And you can kind of like reflect on, when I ate my lunch, I kind of felt, like I had a little bit of a stomach issue. I had extra gas in the afternoon. And so we can look between your logbook and your nutrition tracker, what is working and what's not working. So that is my tips on the tracking. So building out your day, so that you can already look at that. You can do it the night before. So then, too, when we're doing meal planning, so the weekend, again, I always say this, the weekends are for meal planning and for prepping if you need to prep ahead of time. And it can be very simple, or it can be complex depending on, what you got going on and your style. I like the AC style, that Autumn Calabrese style that you'll see in the Ultimate Portion Fix and in your workbook. And that's sort of batch prepping food, or buffet style. And I've done this from the very beginning. I've never been the kind that sets out everything in its container in the compartments, like building out each meal and putting the meals in the fridge. Never done that. I've always just like cooked a batch of quinoa or a batch of brown rice. I've baked up, chicken. I've cut veggies and had them ready to just put into bags, and sometimes put them into bags. But, doing that so that it's ready to, you have things cooked so you don't have to worry about that. And especially when I was, single mom, still working away from home, I'd come home and I'd have things where I could build a meal quickly because the things were already cooked, and you add in your sauces or whatever. If you want to cook ahead of time, some baked potato, you want to boil some eggs, so whatever that looks like for you. And that has always worked best for me. So batch prepping and just making sure you have that all on hand. And then having those containers are good, or some sort of Tupperware to be able to, like, okay, I've got a lunch thing that I'm doing at the park. I'm going to take my meal with me. So having those compartmentalized containers to throw your salad and your chicken and your quinoa or whatever it is, to take it with you is always handy to have. So it's really just, as Autumn says, preparation isn't half the battle. It is the battle. And so we need to, our habit is to take a little bit of time, thinking about what your week ahead is going to look like and mapping it out and, you know, keeping it simple so that you can recreate this every month, every weekend. And that really is going to set you up for success. So that's all I have on the meal planning overview and the Nutrition Plus tracking.
Mm-hmm.
Donna or Deb, did you have any questions on that?
No, I actually finally got the original Fix8 book, and I really read the first few pages, and I got things marked. But this one is like, she's peppered recipe section of the books with tons of hints, tips, and substitutions. So that's what's neat. If you don't have something on hand, she'll help you identify what would be comparable. And I really like that in this book. And one thing I have to say, with Ken being on keto, he's really helped me get on board with veggies, because it's so veggie concentrated, and I feel blessed to have that on, because it's not a fight or anything like that. It's just, okay, what are we having tonight? So he'll jump in and help. And I did want to share one thing I found. It's cooked quinoa.
Oh,
it's
wow.
weird. It's like a little sausage thing. So I was like, whew, okay. I try things, and that's part of it. You try something different, but then you look in the store going, they're trying to make it simple for you too. So this, once I open it, you just slice it up and microwave it and stuff, and refrigerate it, but it's good on the shelf. And it's like, wow, what do you know? And it's all it is. It's quinoa and water, you know, cooked, and a bit of salt, and you're good to go. So don't be afraid if you have time to explore the store, because they're trying to be more, as the public is getting more keto and paleo and diet organic friendly, they're starting to bring in more products to help you. So you don't know until you know. Anyways.
Yeah, that is
true. I wanted to share that.
Yeah. Yeah, good point. So it is good to explore the store and see what's out there and try new things and make it as simple as you can. Like, I love that. I buy cut up veggies when I can. Butternut squash, especially. Those suckers are hard to cut up. And then, like Deb, she looked at the label. So you check the label, make sure there's not a lot of, you know, chemicals that they're using to preserve that. Because technically it would be considered a processed food, because there was a process in providing that to you, as opposed to just like a whole food. But doesn't mean that that is bad. So you can still get some good things that are readily available for you to just heat and eat, kind of thing. And if it has to be refrigerated, that's a good sign. Once you open it, if it has to be refrigerated, that means, you know, it's going to go bad sitting on the counter or in the cupboard. Otherwise, if it doesn't go bad sitting on the counter or the cupboard, there's probably some preservatives in it. So read your labels. And there's a great supermarket video too in your Ultimate Portion Fix. So if you haven't watched that in a while, that one is really, really full of tips too.
Yeah. So along that line, two questions I had is, if you have a recipe that hasn't been portioned out under Fix8, is there a way to figure that out? I kind of just went by, okay, I put in a container of chicken, I put in 2 containers of vegetables, and kind of winged it. But I wondered if there was a program you could punch in.
You know, hopefully they come out with that, but no, there isn't, because it's more than just a simple formula kind of thing. And it really depends on what, you know, obviously what the ingredients are or what the extra additives are in whatever it is. But I do that too. Occasionally I go off the blog and not in the cookbook. And I do that same thing. So like there's this really good detox kale salad that I like to make. And so it's mostly veggies. So I just kind of figure out what would that equate to. This one, when I throw in some tempeh or tofu, I know that's going to be a red. The dressing she may want to account for a couple of spoons or something in it, Autumn. I just call it a dressing and use the orange container, and so that's the way I do it. And if you're like kind of one-offing a recipe here and there or once a week, it's not going to overall, sabotage you.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no simple formula to like.
Yeah. And you might explore a blog. Sometimes you'll be surprised what you find something similar on the blog. I've done that before and was curious. It's like, I really want to make this, but I wonder if there's something similar. I've done that before and just kind of explored that way. But yeah, sometimes I definitely wing it because I look in the fridge going, okay, this will work.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and they come out with new recipes every month. If you have the monthly fix, you get the recipes. I think there's 6 new recipes. You get them a few months ahead of time. Like I've got a vegan meatloaf we're going to try. So
Before
there's always new
published.
stuff. So if you haven't gone to the Fixate Cook Show, and if you can click on the first recipe resource, and it's a clickable PDF, so you can just quickly look, I need a breakfast recipe or an entree, or I'm going to a party and I want to take a side dish. And you can click right on the recipe and it takes you to that recipe. So lots of resources to be able to stay on plan, but there are times when we go off or we're out eating, at a restaurant or at a friend's house. We don't have our containers or recipes. So,
Right.
yeah. Okay, and the last thing before we jump off is that Miracle Morning. We're going to start this next week. Yay! So I'm going to just kind of throw something out there tomorrow, kind of get us, ready to go. And I'm just going to walk us through the savers. So scribing or journaling, affirmations, visualization, exercise, and reading. And that's to win your morning, to create this morning routine. If you don't already have one, or this might enhance what you're doing or add in a piece. Because when you start your morning off well and positive, then the rest of the day usually unfolds from there, right? So I'm excited about that.
I have a question, Louise. So how would you approach this? Are you going to let us know, like read chapter 1? And how is that going to work?
Yeah, I'm going to jump right into, this weekend, I think tomorrow I'll start putting in just some of the preface kind of stuff on how the Miracle Morning, what it's, how it's beneficial. And then I'm going to jump into, on Monday, doing
a syllabus.
Yeah, I will do that because to get through, I want to just kind of like get through the savers this week, and then we can kind of like really start putting them into play, for the remainder 3 weeks or 2 weeks after this. So
sounds good.
Yeah, but yeah, I like the syllabus, kind of giving people a heads up. Here's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
And that helps me to know what we're gonna do. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, if there's no other questions, I'm going to stop the recording, and thank you for getting on the call.